Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Caninana taking on negativeZero. So a ZVP between two very developed bots, and I'm excited for this one, as I know we've watched negativeZero take down Eris a bunch, but it's like, how well does it do against a bit of a different designed bot, such as Caninana? And yeah, we're just going to see how this one goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get any further into this match, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And then, of course, if we can, let's go for like 50 likes, something like that. Pick a number, any number. Or how many cards is there in a deck of cards? What is it, 52 card pickup? Let's go for 52 likes. Then subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you just watch these videos through YouTube recommended, go ahead and click that button. And yeah, let's just see where this one goes. Also, a bit of a note, if you are a bot author and you've got some cool matches you want me to cast, feel free to send them my way. And yeah, let's see. We've got negativeZero coming in with a scout saying, I'm against a speedling rush, but that's not really the case. Caninana is just a very defensive Zerg bot, so it opens up with an early pool and lings, but this is what it looks like upon first glimpse. negativeZero is playing like it would against any Zerg bot to be like, hey, yeah, this is what I'm actually up against, which is cool to see. So just getting ready for that. We've got lings on the way out for Caninana. However, they are just scouting lings as they run out across the map looking for information to bring back to the bot overlord, I suppose. And you can watch the pathing on those units as they click around, which is very cool to see. Just the way they go about constantly updating their path based on the info they got. negativeZero has got a low ground wall off, 2 gateways, and a cyber core built at the front. The Zealot programmed to hold the door in case it was a genuine speedling rush, so we get a Stalker being chrono boosted out. Maybe we'll see some batteries from negativeZero. And we actually do see a battery on the way. Okay, so Caninana and negativeZero going at it. So far, though, negativeZero just having a very reasonable response to what it's up against. Caninana, meanwhile, firing up ling speed, getting Burrow on the way. I'm just checking when the last time I watched these two play was. I'm not sure I've ever cast them, actually. From the looks of it, I don't think I have. Okay, no, maybe I actually have cast one. Anyway, let's see where this one's going to go from here, as we do have negativeZero doing its thing. Oh, having that safe wall. We get a Stargate on the way. And then a Scouting Ling comes on in for Caninana. You'll have to forgive me if I do sometimes tab out to take a look at, like, see if a bot's played a match before that I've cast, because I am paranoid that at some point, I mean, I cast so many games that at some point I'll click on a replay I've already clicked on before, and that's not usually too much of a problem while the season's underway, because it means there's always new replays pushing the old ones to the top, but then or to the bottom, but then the seasons freeze just for like a few days here and there, so then it kind of means that the replay logs pause, so then there is a chance it's more likely I'll click on a match a second time. And I do cast so many games that I don't retain them all in my head, but sometimes I get an inkling. I'm like, have I seen this before? Yes, I have seen negativeZero go for a wall like this before, but I haven't actually seen this particular game. So now we've got Caninana making lots of Zerglings just off of 3 bases, but very little saturation on those 3 bases. negativeZero fires up a Void Ray. That's very cool to see. And then we have multiple Stalkers being produced by the Protoss bot as it just builds up an army. Interestingly enough, not really any Zealots or Adepts. negativeZero tends to make a bit of a range of units, but just going hard into the Stalkers right now, which is not going to be the ideal composition, seeing as how Caninana, which also has a reactive composition, I believe, does just keep making Lings, and Lings are a darn good answer to Stalkers. The Zerg bot is getting up a layer, squeezing out a few drones here and there, but as long as negativeZero is on 2 bases, things shouldn't be too bad for the Zerg bot. negativeZero pushes on out. We'll see if it takes the third, or whether it is just going to be focused on the attack, and it seems like it's focused on the attack, but Caninana has got so many Zerglings right now in order to try and shut this down. The Zerg bot spreading a little bit of creep forward, just saturating up that third base, but these Stalkers are going to be in trouble as the Zerg bot does elect to engage in with this. Ling's starting to get on top of these Stalkers, so negativeZero having a bit of a rough start to this match as the Stalker composition is not what it needs, and the Lings for Caninana do get a good cleanup. So the Protoss bot probably going to want to try and hold that wall. It does have batteries, Void Rays, so shouldn't be in too much danger from a counterattack. The Void Rays are going to get free damage, but the Lings do go forward. They wrap around some of the Stalkers, kill off the Adepts, the Zealot perhaps at the front, although the batteries are doing good work defending against this. It's like another Stalker does get picked off, so most of negativeZero's units are dying, but the Lings are not going to get through here, I don't think, despite their best efforts. Battery overcharge popped once those 2 batteries do run out of energy. That's a very cool way of programming it from the bot author, or at least I think that seems to be how it works. A very reasonable check, as you can basically say, hey, my battery's out of energy, it's not cutting it, the base healing, give me that overcharge. Now we have a Forge on the way for negativeZero. LaughNgamez, the Protoss bot, has secured up 3 bases. Caninana is still on a fairly low economy itself, up to 40 drones, but that's not many. That's like, it's not really up to 40 drones, it's like at 40 drones. It's not that much. The Zerg bot is coming in with so many more Zerglings, though. 69 Lings going to be charging forward. negativeZero has pivoted its own composition to make mass Zealots and charge lots against Lings, which is much superior compared to what it had before. Caninana fires up a Hydra Den, getting out Roaches, +1 attack on the way. So we do see these bots kind of reacting to each other as far as the compositions are concerned. A few Lings from Caninana made it into the main base of negativeZero. I'm not sure they'll get too much done as the Protoss bot is hunting this down with the Oracle. And yeah, Void Rays, Zealots will take care of that. Caninana is keeping tabs on its opponent, but as far as the economy is concerned, negativeZero does have the lead, 63 workers to 42. Caninana is just pumping out Hydras, making lots of units, and getting range on those Hydras as well, with +1 attack coming on out. So the composition from the Zerg is looking quite nasty up until we see a Colossus from negativeZero. Once one of those gets building, I'm going to be a little concerned, because Colossus just butcher Lings and Hydras. And so Caninana may want to macro up a little bit more. It's doing this middle-of-the-road macro as it's getting up towards 50 workers, so slowly increasing that, but negativeZero does invest in a 4th base that's been... we'll see if that gets punished or not. But for now, the Zerg does have quite a force. Some Roaches, Hydras, and Lings, but negativeZero has built up a nice army itself. The economic lead definitely helping it out as the Protoss bot invests in all kinds of tech. The Zerg does seem to be wanting to move forward, though, with lots of Lings, these Roaches stepping forward. The Nexus could be the target as Caninana moves on in, but then it sees all the Zealots and changes its mind. The very fluid-like movement of the Lings controlled by the bot. It's darn amazing to see as those Lings fan out. Zealots trying to charge them down, but that will not work. We do have a couple of Roaches hitting on the right side of the map, but there is an observer present, so burrow opportunity is limited. And Caninana just keeps doing its thing off of 3 bases, so gonna be on a worse economy than its opponent. And this is something Caninana sometimes has been doing lately, it seems, where it does go more into unit production than into macro. It's like a very, very slow macro buildup, just the odd drone here and there, whereas it might have had the freedom to throw up another base or something like that. So Caninana now moving out on the map. Lings charging forward, but look at this Protoss force from negativeZero. It's got +1 attack. There's so many Zealots in the mix of it. Not that Zealots are amazing against Lings and Hydras. And so we are going to see an engagement. Hydras getting damage done. The Lings move forward, and these Zealots are buffering, but the Hydras are putting out so much damage on top of them. Meanwhile, the Protoss backline is pretty good, though, with an Immortal, a Sentry, Void Rays in the skies. And so Caninana will be forced back after this fight. Both bots are making more units, but Caninana will not be making as many as its opponent. We do at least have a 4th base on the way now, though, that negativeZero does go into double Colossus production. Caninana throws up an infestation pit, +2 attack, now making many drones, but I'm not sure it's got the army to hold on against if negativeZero goes far with the counterattack. But we are seeing quite a nice move with these Hydras grabbing an Immortal. So some high-value Protoss targets getting picked off. Was that an Observer that just died there? It might have been. The few Void Rays are getting chased away by Caninana as well, as these top bots, they're so good at defending their bases from little bits of harassment, but then also just having very good fights all over the place. These Hydras, they may get a Void Ray, and they do just quick enough to chase down that Void Ray. It's the speed, 4.13 against 3.85. Not much of a margin there. Anyway, the Zerg bot does continue to push forward, trying to pick off some high-value sentries. Colossus will cause problems, but these roaches, they still can burrow and retreat. Caninana is making more lings, which isn't really ideal against Colossus now, but we'll see whether it's still able to take the fight. The Zerg bot retains a decent bit of an army, but it's got to be careful trading out against negativeZero. negativeZero is on 4 saturated bases, getting up a 5th as well, so the rate of trading out is going to be a little bit scary here. So negativeZero pushes on in, forces some roaches to burrow and retreat. It's not that much Protoss pushing out here, as negativeZero hasn't been just like rebuilding all those zealots it lost, as it invests in double Immortals at a time. Looks like 3 Colossus are out on the map. Caninana has invested in a Spire, so it's going to have that as potential tech in order to be able to make Corruptors to chase down these Colossus. We'll see if that works. There's also a Neural Parasite on the way, but no Infestors have been produced. The Zerg is just moving forward, taking out some of these Zealots as these 2 bots constantly skirmish. That's the beauty of these AI games. These bots, they are always skirmishing. A few Hydras for Caninana move in, but then they see some Zealots in a cannon to chase them away. It really is impressive how these bots react to even just small bits of harassment. That is not an easy thing to program. Looks like Caninana is trying to dive on top of a Colossus and will successfully grab it. negativeZero continues to poke out on the map. Having a supply lead compared to its opponent is quite impressive, as the Protoss bot just continues to take what seems to be alright trades. It's had a better economy than its opponent for most of the game, which definitely is a factor, but the trades aren't absolutely amazing. 9,000 resources lost to 10,000, so negativeZero actually down a little bit, but it has had a better economy throughout this game. Now Caninana is going to try and take this forward expansion, but it is a risky location to try to expand to. It's not far for negativeZero to go to try and kill off this base. Queens are transfusing each other, of course, all done automatically. That's the beauty of these bots. They don't miss spells. If they meet the conditions to do something, they will do it. Looks like Lings get a wraparound and Immortal dies. Roaches and Hydras still trying to hold the line for Caninana, as the Zerg bot does have all sorts of upgrades on the way. Adrenal Glands, 3-2-2 going on the way for upgrades. The Immortals are definitely scary, though. They're not to be slept on by negativeZero. Caninana is holding the line for now, but it is a bit of a scary position. More Lings are being produced. These 3 Immortals are out by themselves, but they are just cutting up these roaches. And so an attempt to mine at this 5th base is a bit of a long shot for Caninana by now. We also have the Protoss pushing in towards the 3rd base, and negativeZero hitting 2 locations. These bots are just microing out so darn well. All over the map there's battles. Immortals pushing on in to the 5th base. Caninana is trying to maintain its supply. Meanwhile, to the north, Hydras and Lings do pick off another one of those Immortals, which is nice. Colossus are constantly kiting back, though, and Caninana does lose the 5th base, which may actually be good for it if it stops abandoning this position, but the problem is supply is relatively low for the Zerg bot right now. Just sitting around 50-60 supply against the supply of negativeZero, which does seem to be growing. Resources lost, it's actually still similar trading amounts, but I guess just negativeZero has got so much money coming in, it's able to sustain these trades, which is a bit of a big picture thing we don't really look at in StarCraft 2 Pro or just human games. It's because, like, when a human game more often than not comes down to one big fight for the most part, whereas these bot games, like, it's just prolonged trades as we're seeing. Now negativeZero does pause for a second. This allows Caninana to go up in a little bit of supply, but the Protoss bot is maxed out, and if it keeps on trading out, this could be difficult for Caninana. The Zerg does have expensive Infestors and Vipers on the way. +3 attack is about to finish up. That will definitely help out. +2 Carapace also about to finish up. The timing on that, as this fight takes place, is a little bit late, but still, now things are going to benefit the Zerg. negativeZero, though, has successfully pushed on in, got real close towards that third base, so mining at the third is disrupted. That's going to really hurt Caninana's ability to replace units as fast as it needs to. And that really is an interesting dynamic between these bot matches. Like, overall, just the constant fights. Eventually, one side will have been able to produce a bit more than the other. Parasitic Bomb does hit a Colossus, but man, oh man, look at this Protoss Force. It has deleted the third base. The Colossus have really done some work. We never saw any Corruptors made to help counter these Colossus, and Caninana has done a good job trying to hold the line, but negativeZero, with the superior economy, just as it took better trades, and then eventually it hits the snowball as it's able to step in, deny mining from the third, deny the fifth. Now even the fourth base is having mining being denied, and that is really all of Caninana's income. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it does seem that negativeZero is going to be able to take this one. Hydras do gobble up a Colossus as Caninana shows us its beautiful spellcaster usage as always, but unfortunately it just wasn't quite able to hit that supply it needed. And I think that in part was just due to how few drones it made earlier on. And that little thing does come back to bite it, so maybe it needs to be a little bit more greedy against negativeZero. It's a fine line to walk as a bot author. But anyway, what a great game between these two. I certainly always enjoy watching these bots. Not sure if I've said it already or not, but ladies and gentlemen, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. I certainly enjoy casting them. And then, yeah, if you do want to support the channel, big thanks to everyone that does use that YouTube membership program. I don't have a patron or anything like that, but there are links in the description if you do want to support the channel. And yeah, I will see you guys next time as we just wait for this to all get cleaned on out. Beautiful lasers cutting everything up. GG.